Hey there everybody, Derek with the Hydro Economist here, where we like to grow our prosperity, wealth, and freedom. And today I wanted to discuss how I accrue my silver. And these are my top 5 methods on how I stack. Alright, so let's jump into it. I don't know if these are really going to be valued in order, but I guess I kind of I tried using logic to reach to one, but so whatever. I mean, value it, take it how you will. This is just my methods. These are the methods that work for me and how I have accrued my silver over the years. Some of it's probably going to sound a little weird, but there's reasons to why I do what I do, and it works. So let's start with number 5. Pretty basic. You've seen it in one of my previous videos, coin roll hunting. It's probably the cheapest way for you to accrue your silver and basically pay face value for pieces that are worth probably double to triple that. So if you see in the last video, I do it in bulk though. I mean, there's a variety of ways that you can coin roll hunt or loose change hunt. You know, you could go to the bank and ask for any loose half dollars they may have, but you know, I think you're going to be throwing a lot of time out the window just trying to do the little things. So I think the key here is you've got to do it in bulk. Okay, if you remember in the last video, I had 2 boxes, so it was about $1,000 worth of half dollars. I got them through my bank, one of my banks, and you know, they were happier, you know, they were really happy to do it for me as long as I wasn't going to dump it on them. I dump at Chase. Just dump at a bank you don't particularly like, and as long as they don't give you too much guff. The thing about Chase is, though, at least out here, they don't even have like a loose change counter anymore. You can't exchange your change unless it's all rolled up. So the method on how I unroll my half dollar rolls is I use a little mechanics pick, I unravel the end, throw it all out, look at the side, and then put it back in there, roll it up, and it's ready to get, you know, turned back into paper money. But you know, it's a game of chance. The cool thing is if you do the bulk route, you're never going to be out that money. You know, you put $500 in, you get $500 out. Sometimes you put $500 in, you change in, and you find like say a 40% piece. I mean, that's part of the fun in doing it. And that's why I do it. And actually look for a video pretty soon. I just got a couple of more boxes on order. I should have those next week, and we'll do another coin roll hunting session. So let's move forward. Number 4. This is an interesting thing. It's really more about payments and in a way financing. And so it's kind of like a dual answer. So one of the methods in which I use to stack my silver is through PayPal's credit. Now, I don't recommend that for everybody. They're really good at making it super easy for you to make payments, like 0 payments for 6 months, no interest, that kind of thing. And yes, if you pay within the term, you don't get charged interest, and that's why I use it, because when I know I'm in a position to where I can make the payments, or if I can just do it in all, you know, one payment deal, it just kind of helps accelerate the process. Like, say if price is really good and I can't mess it up, but I need to wait a few days for money to come in, it allows me to do that. In a lot of cases, dependent on the amount that you borrow from PayPal credit, is going to determine the term on when you got to pay it back, plus like the interest. And again, if you pay it before that special term that they offer, they won't charge you any interest. To this day, I have not paid a penny to PayPal in interest. I have borrowed free money essentially and stacked all kinds of silver because of it. So that's why I recommend it, only if you know you can manage those terms. If you're going to live outside of those terms, well, then you might as well just be using a credit card to purchasing your metal. Okay, we're trying to preserve our wealth. We're not trying to, you know, add all these extra fees in our life to make it happen. So we got to do it smart. The second portion of this is actually using Bitcoin. Again, I have a previous video where I talked about the Bitcoin to gold ratio, and Bitcoin, again, it's just another form of payment, but if you can find dealers out there that accept Bitcoin for metals, for example, I got this piece from silvergoldbull.com. They were running a special. It was a 10-ounce bar, one per customer. I don't know, I don't think they're still running it right now, but I could get it at spot. And I don't normally go through those avenues, but I was on Salivate Metals live stream and everybody was talking about it, so I checked it out and I was like, holy crap, I can use Bitcoin, and they don't charge extra fees like they do for your credit cards, and the waiting period, it just gets slashed, because if like you use your credit, or if you use check with or maybe wiring your check, but it takes a few extra days for that to process, and then they won't release your metal until it's all cleared. Bitcoin, it cleared in like 15 minutes, and by the next week I had it. So it was a deal I couldn't pass. I got this at spot. Maybe go check it out. I don't know if they're still running it, but they still seem to run deals, and it's one of the many, well, I don't know, it's one of the few distributors that will accept your Bitcoin to get metal. I believe Mike Maloney's website also does that too. So right now, as I speak, 1 Bitcoin is equivalent to 2 ounces of gold, and 1 Bitcoin transferred into silver would get you 158 troy ounces of hard, cold silver. So, because the cryptos are extremely high right now, they have a lot of buying power, that's probably going to be a good time to play ratios with some of these things. So, while the metals are on the cheap and while Bitcoin's really high, I mean, you got to consider that discount city. So, and with the recent downtrend in the cryptos and just some wacky volatility going on out there, they seem to be correcting a little bit, but this is where we're at. If you want to get out of the cryptos, this might be a good avenue for it, because it can get you a lot of metal. Moving on, number 3 is kind of a hybrid between 3 and 4 with the PayPal credit. Now, this is probably the second, well, obviously it's the third way that I get my metals. I've probably used this one almost the most. eBay, I go through eBay. Yes, I know you pay premiums and stuff, but it still seems to work. And if you're like me, you're doing a dollar cost averaging over time, then you know what, that really doesn't bother you, even if it is a little bit. I mean, it gives you an opportunity to get like nicer things if you're staying under your average cost. So I mean, I'm not against that. I don't get all kinds of nice stuff, but it allows me to get a lot of silver at once. So I go to eBay and I go through just a couple of sellers out there. I mean, I know you're familiar with them, AppMex and Modern Coin Mart. I go through them a lot, and a couple others. I'll provide the links down below through my preferred sellers on eBay. Usually they're all pretty competitive, and the only reason why I really suggest this is because, again, when you combine this with the number 4 suggestion of using PayPal credit, if you can stay within those terms, if you can do your due diligence, you're going to be able to acquire a lot of silver without paying a dime in interest. So again, if price takes a dip and you just want to take advantage of it, but you still need like a week or two to really get your money together, or you can make those payments within the terms that PayPal credit allows you, then by all means, it's a really great method of accruing and stacking a lot of metals. So I highly suggest that. All right, number 2. Number 2 is, it's a little different. It's kind of fruity. I came across it a couple of years ago. It might have been through like watching Mike Maloney, or what's that other dude Mike's always talking to? I can't remember his name. Anyways, they had this online platform where it's, I mean, yes, and it's a third party. I know us silver stackers, the reason why we do it is to get out of the third party risk, but it was just a new, interesting way to accrue silver, and it gives you options. So it's cool because, and I don't remember if I just mentioned it, you go to ownx.com, OWNX.com, and it's an online account where you can buy as much or as little monthly, weekly. You can set it up however way you want to keep buying your precious metals for you, and it segregates it into its own account. And you just, you just, like what I do, I just have like a basic amount every month, and the 17th every month, it automatically buys in my favor. Doesn't matter what price is doing. This is my threshold, and you get whatever that price is. So if it's a little cheaper, you'll get more. If it's a little less, then you're not going to get as much. I like it because of the options. I like it because you can opt. Once you hit like a 20-ounce threshold, then you can opt to have it delivered to you. So if you still want to stack the metals and have it in your hand, yeah, you'll pay a little bit of a fee, but considering that you're basically paying spot price for it to get held into this account, and for you to do it at your own discretion, pretty cool. So highly suggest doing that. Go down below into the description. I have a link to there, and it's also a referral code, so they'll give me a little bit of a bump. You get a little bit of a bump for using my code. So the other cool thing is that if it's another option. Like recently, last year, I wanted to get a camper, and I was like, well, I don't really have any other money. And then I looked back into this account, and I was like, well, if I sold, I think I sold maybe $1,000 worth of silver through this account, I didn't have to do the holding thing and put it on eBay, put it online, and go through the physical process. What the nice thing was is that I was able to just sell whatever I wanted to back, and they just put it into my account, and then I cashed out of my checking account and paid for a camper in cash. So that's the other cool thing. So it's just nice to have those options. So yeah, go down below, check that out. It's another cool option to have. Number one is probably going to be your best bet, especially if you like dealing in cash. Go to a local dealer that you trust. I mean, do your research, make sure they feel like they're good people, they're not giving you bad info, they're not totally reaming you over. Often you're going to get a better price going through them. Like the local guys that I go through, I can kind of even wheel and deal with them. If I bring enough cash, they'll work with me. Sometimes he throws in a couple of nice things. Like one time I dropped like, I don't know, $1,000 there, and he was like, and I asked him, hey, do you have a monster box? Where the government stuff comes in. He's like, oh yeah, I got a bunch back here. Just take it. I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. So, it's cool. It's always good to go to your local resources. You're probably going to open yourself to better prices. And of course, if you ever need to sell, they're right there for you. But, just like anything, do your research on all of these things. Do your research. Make sure that you can fit the bill for this lifestyle. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Try to keep your emotion out of it, man. I mean, you got to be in it in the long run for these kind of things. So if you're trying to play metals on the shorts, man, I think you're probably going to lose your ass more often than not. In the example of the online ONX account that I have, when I did that sell for my camper money, I actually made a short-term game, which I'm in it for the long run, but I just had to have the camper, so that's what I did. But alright, everybody, that was the top 5, so let's run through that again. 5, do some coin roll hunting, do some loose change hunting, check every bit of change that you get to see if you have some silver. It's a great way to get silver on the cheap and only paying face value. Number 4, using special financial tools such as PayPal credit and Bitcoin to accrue your precious metals. Number 3, eBay with a combination of PayPal credit, unless you can fit the bill as it is. But eBay, it's another good resource to get a lot of silver. Number 2, online Silver Savers account, which is called Onex. That's what it was. That's what it used to be called, actually, Silver Savers. But it got bought out. Now it's Onex.com. Nothing changed. It's the same thing. Anyways, Onex.com. It's a nice little third-party thing. I think of it more like an option. It's more of my liquid silver account. So think of it like that. And then number one, find a local dealer that you trust. All right, everybody. That's it for me today. I am sweating because the air is not working up here, so I need to go and get back to work. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, sharing it with all your friends, and go ahead and find me on all the other social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and I'm also on Steemit, so find me out on Steemit. That's a cool new place to check out. Bye, everybody.